Hello. Welcome, everybody. We are here for another Lunch and Learn. It was a rainy morning here in Toronto. Looks like it may have settled. I'm not sure, but we'll be going outside for another walk soon. And today I am here to talk to you all about where to start when your world is falling apart. So if you're feeling overstretched, like you're moving in 1,000 different directions, maybe you're at a crossroads and aren't really sure where to turn, today is for you. And it's never easy to be in situations like this. The important thing is to know that your current circumstances don't have to dictate your experience. And your history won't determine your destiny unless you let it. I think those are so key. Those are things you want to write down, you want to highlight, because the more you keep coming back to that, the more joyful your life is going to be. Now, there's a lot going on in the world right now. There's so much going on. The pandemic has had a major effect on the lives of so many people across the globe. And different parts of the world are still in and out of lockdown. Many people are in a position of losing their jobs and doing their best to work and provide for their families with their kids at home, or some people might be homeschooling or virtual schooling and assisting while they're juggling work and so many responsibilities. In some cases, some areas have come back to a new normal. However, regardless of where you are and what your situation is, whether you've thrived during the pandemic or not, whether you are going through chaos or you've gone through chaos in your life, I feel like at one point or another, there has been a time where you have needed, or you are going to need, or you may need this particular topic. So I want you to just listen up and hear a new perspective, because I get that you might be going through a difficult time, and I want you to realize that on the other side of any unfavorable situation is an absolutely incredible opportunity for good to come when you know how to look for it. That follows the law of polarity. It is a universal law. When there is something bad, it has the equal and opposite potential for something good. And when you start to understand that law, or any of the universal laws, and really start to work with them, you're already working with them. Some of them you might be working with consciously, and others less consciously. But when you start to work with the universal laws in a productive way, you're going to be able to, you will start to have so much more power. So I'm going to share a few ideas that are based on law today. And what I want you to do is I want you to give yourself permission to stay optimistic, because that really is what today's topic is all about. Simple, actionable tips that you could and should start with today when you are in a place where your world is falling apart and you don't know where to start. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of really actionable things that you can take charge of. Okay, so tell me where you're coming in from. If you're tuning in by replay, I want you to type in replay in the chat. And if it's your first time here, type in first time in the chat, because we want to know and we want to welcome you at any time that you're here. Now, some of you know me, some of you don't. For our new members, I'm Larissa McCook. I'm a master results coach, trainer, truth seeker, and CEO of Abundance Academy. And I help successful entrepreneurs radically transform their life and business to create the time, money, and freedom that they dream of, that they deserve, and that they desire with ease, joy, and flow. And our company mission is to positively impact more than 1 billion people across the globe through better thinking and creating a brighter and better future for all. Now, there is a book written by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning. And Viktor Frankl was an Austrian neurologist, a psychiatrist, philosopher, and author. And he's also a Holocaust survivor. So those of you that have read the book are probably very familiar with his work. And in 1942, just after 9 months after marrying his wife, he and his family were sent to a concentration camp. And his father died there of starvation and pneumonia. Then his mother and brother were gassed, and his wife also died later as well. And to top it off, after all his family was gone, they took his life's work, which he had hidden away in a mattress, and they took that away from him. They disintegrated it in front of his eyes, And they also took his wedding band, the last tiny memory of his entire previous world. Now, the Holocaust was a very difficult time for everyone, and obviously a very difficult time for him. And there were a lot of people in his situation and similar situations that did give up. And the one beautiful thing that he held on to is this idea that he wrote about in Man's Search for Meaning, that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of his human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. They took everything from him, but they couldn't take away his spirit. They couldn't take away his will to live. And he made a decision to survive. He made a decision to thrive to the best of his abilities. And no matter what was going on, no matter how hungry he was, no matter what kind of a day he was having, he chose to keep moving forward and make it to the next day and to the next day and to the next day. And he chose his own way. He survived the Holocaust, and he wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning, and it has gone on to influence millions of people across the globe to find the best in situations, and whatever situations they're in, regardless of what's going on in their external world. So we're not saying that you have to be in his situation. However, the intensity of this situation, this might be how you're feeling. You might feel totally trapped, totally stuck, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your life. I'm telling you, wherever this is, wherever you are feeling stuck, it's going to influence the other one, because when you have problems in one area, it has a way of trickling into every part of your life. Okay. Why am I sharing all this with you? Well, we've had so many in our community that are going through some very difficult times this week. And on a group call we had this Monday, one of our clients shared a beautiful, beautiful story. And she's like, a few weeks ago, I had everything coming to me. I was winning contests. I got a raise at work. I got a new computer. I got like so many things. And she had a beautiful, beautiful week and a beautiful experience. Now, this week on the flip side, she was like, my Monday and Tuesday did not start very well. She had one little mini episode of things going wrong after another. And she took a step back, and whereas before she would have let that pull her back, she took a step back and said, what's the common denominator here? I am. And so she chose to step back and realize that she had created this situation in some way, not intentionally, because none of us intend to create this situation, right? None of us intend to create situations like this. However, as soon as she recognized it and owned it, she didn't beat herself up. What she did is she went on to say an affirmation, a really simple affirmation. This is one that we love from Abraham Hicks. Everything is always working out for me. She remembered that time a few weeks ago, and she's like, if I did it before, I can do it again. Like, what have I got to lose? Everything is always working out for me. 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 Now, she repeated that. We had a lesson where I asked her, I suggested that they emphasize different words, and she really paid attention to those words. And for her that day, that word of always, the word always just stood out for her, and that got her to flip everything. By the time she got home from her walk, boom, it was night and day. Everything had shifted. And I'm so incredibly proud of her, because this was not her reality a few months ago, a year ago. And regardless of what's going on, whether it's just a day with silly things happening, whether you're in a stuck situation, you can only be in charge of you. You can only be in charge of your perspective and only be in charge of your situation. And I know you are here because you want to live life to its fullest. Like, raise your hand if you want to live life to its fullest. You want a life where you get to work with clients that you adore and create magic moments for your family by going on adventures and taking trips and just creating memories that'll last a lifetime. You want to help transform the lives of people that are close to you, that are in your world, and just have people shout praises from the rooftops. This is all possible and so much more. Okay, this is so possible. And let me know if you know you were here and you were meant for more. Like what is one struggle? I want you to share in the chat. What is one struggle that you would like to overcome? What is one struggle that you would like to overcome? Something that's challenging that you're going through that you're like, I haven't let this go. And I really should. I actually want to let this go. And there's something holding me in this situation. What is that struggle? What is that challenge for you? I want to know. So share that in the chat. Now, there's a few things that you need to know because change is possible. And when your world is falling apart, it's difficult to see the forest through the trees. And it's so familiar to get up and get caught up in those current circumstances and just look at that situation in front of you. Okay, we've all been there where we've looked at the situation and then repeated it. And then we've repeated it and we've repeated it. And we've played this memory in our mind over and over and over again. And this memory is not serving us. Okay, so where do you start when you're repeating these memories and looping these stories that aren't serving you? Well, first, you got to take a breath and do something physical. Okay, taking a breath is something physical. It's a pattern interrupt. You want to take a break, cut yourself some slack, acknowledge where you're at. And if you really need to throw a hissy fit, you can do that for a short period of time. However, if you're emotionally not feeling spectacular, you can't feel negative emotions for a sustained period of time, for much longer than 45 seconds neurologically. If you are feeling in a negative emotional state, it's because you're repeating the same story. So by doing something physical, you can break that cycle. You can take a breath. That breaks the cycle, and you can jump into a new cycle and create a different cycle, a better cycle. You can even say out loud, okay, I'm doing my best and my best is good enough. Okay. You can get up from your desk and do 10 jumping jacks or 100 jumping jacks. You can recognize your physiology and change it immediately. One of the fastest ways to change your emotional state, even for a split second, is to change your physiology. And I taught this in a Montessori preschool. I was teaching Pilates like 10 years ago, 15 years ago in a Montessori preschool. And the 2 to 4-year-olds understood this. When you slouch, you're sad and it's hard to breathe. It's really hard to smile when you're slouching and you're looking down, and people that are not happy are in this situation. So all they did was sat up tall. They realized that they could breathe better. It was easier to put a smile on their face. And if you're feeling like this, literally sit up tall, stand up tall, put a smile on your face, look at yourself in the mirror, even as you smile, and you might feel ridiculous. Do it anyway, because you can't help but feel just a teeny tiny bit better. And at first you might feel like a fake, because you might not want to do it. And you're like, well, I'm so comfortably uncomfortable being sad and throwing a hissy fit and just staying in my self-pity and repeating the story of what's not working and being frustrated, pulling my hair out. Cancel all that stuff, because you have a choice. You can sit up, stand up, put a smile on your face, get up and get moving. Okay. So the thing is, whichever one of those little variations works for you, you do what works best for you. Do what works best for you. Get up and get going. And the more you repeat this thing that works best for you, maybe you'll do the thing that works really well for you 3 or 4 times, and you'll be like, oh, I need to try something else. Go do another one of these little strategies. Get up, get moving, change your state. When you find yourself looping, break the cycle and jump into another loop, a more positive loop. Okay. All right. So a couple things that people are having challenges with. Pass my AZ 500 exam on Friday. Michael, yes, I love it. And I know we had a great chat the other day about really seeing the end in mind, looking at that situation from a positive perspective. Kelsey, challenges with setting and sticking to boundaries, realizing it's okay to say no. And yeah, it's like I'm doing my best and my best is good enough. Really acknowledging yourself for all of those times that you do set boundaries. And each time you stick to a boundary, no matter how tiny it is, sometimes there are even boundaries that you've had before. Hey, monkey, my son's here. Hey, and he still has chosen not to change out of his pajamas. Do you want to show everyone?
I got an arrow.
You have an arrow. Did you know that Michael is watching and Kelsey's watching and a few other people are watching, but you have not given StreamYard permission to see your name? He made an arrow. Mwah. Okay, go play. Okay, so we've got someone else that's struggling to break free of negativity and hype risk aversion in Viro. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but break free of negativity. Yes, that is definitely something that this is going to help with. If you want to elaborate on that, maybe I can give you a suggestion. And surrendering to uncertainty. Yeah, that really is all about faith, surrendering to uncertainty. Okay. So step one, when you're in this world that's falling apart, again, is to stop. It's like stop, drop, and roll, right? When there's a fire, they tell kids to stop, drop, and roll. You've got to stop the cycle. And you do that the most easy way, the most simple way, by doing something physical. Take that breath, do some movement, sit up tall, put that ridiculous and amazing smile on your face. Say something good to yourself. Remind yourself that you are moving in the right direction and just keep going and going and going, okay? It's a teeny tiny step. It might take 2 seconds. It might take 10 seconds, but that's where you start. That's the very, very first place you start. Now, the next thing you want to do is make a decision, okay? Make a decision and decide to create a new experience. Just like Viktor Frankl, he decided that he was going to live and survive the concentration camps, whereas many around him did not make that choice. Ultimately, your beliefs create your reality, and your belief is a decision, and belief is a thought you keep thinking. So your beliefs, they manifest in the thoughts you keep thinking, and that changes into your physical reality. And this is where we get into the looping, right? Looping seems to be the story of the day, the word of the day. Tony Robbins says change can happen in a heartbeat. And it's so true that who you were or what you did or what your world was yesterday or even an hour ago, it doesn't have to shape your experience now. And it shouldn't. Because right here, right now, you can make a new decision. You can decide that regardless of the challenges that you're facing, you are going to have a better experience. You can learn from the situation and find the good. Then you can keep doing that over and over and over again. Finding the good consistently is like building a muscle. So if you're not used to working out and you have never worked out, you start working out, you might feel some discomfort because your muscles are growing, right? The muscles actually have to tear in order to build up. And so when you're looking to build muscle, there's an awkward or uncomfortable period. And it's the same with this. If you are not used to making certain decisions that are empowering, that are moving you forward, that can truly support you and change your life, then it might be uncomfortable. However, you can choose to rise above your problems. You can choose to find solutions. You can choose to find people out there to help you. And you can choose to find the good in any situation. This will only raise your energy, and only good can come from this, because this is all, like I said, based on spiritual and universal law. This is based on the law of vibration. As you find the good in things, you will raise your energy. As you start to recognize the lessons and learnings and accept them and start being in a more energetic and in a more positively energetic state, your energy is going to rise and rise and rise. And that is ultimately connected to the law of attraction, okay? And it starts with a decision. So step one, that was all about changing your state, doing something physical. Step two, make a decision and decide to create that new experience. Make that decision to focus on the good. Make that decision to learn the lessons you need to learn. and then keep doing that over and over again. You may need to make a decision over and over and over again, and poof, all of a sudden things will be very, very different. Okay. Choose to rise above your problems. Choose to find those solutions. Now, last but not least, get a crystal clear picture of what you do want and fuse with that desire. Now, this one might take a little bit more time. Okay, the first two you can start doing really, really quickly. This third point is one that you really do need to take some time to cultivate. And just because the picture or the vision may not be perfect on day one, your job is to keep coming back to it and crafting it into a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. Because one of the greatest causes of dissatisfaction, of being pulled in many different directions, whether it's in your life or in your business, is being scattered and constantly having life happen to you. Not having a clear goal and an outcome that you're working towards. Because when you have that goal and that clear outcome, you've got to have, you're going to keep moving in that direction no matter what. Things will keep crossing in front of you and you won't even notice them because you're still focused on where you're going. So it's not that bad things won't happen around you. It's not that the same circumstances won't come your way. It's just the emotional weight won't be as strong. You might not even notice them and they might just pass you by like two ships in the night. That's one of my favorite analogies that Bob says. It's like two ships in the night just passing each other by. You won't even notice it because you have this juicy, juicy goal, this juicy, juicy desire. And ultimately, you will get everything you ask for. So is it better to be laser focused on everything that's falling apart in your world? Or would you rather shift and adapt that focus to what you actually want? Because everything you believe is true. Everything you say is true. And ultimately, you get everything you ask for. That is truly, truly the power of the unconscious mind. And you might start this process consciously, but some of the things you ask for unconsciously are handed to you on a silver platter. And there was a time probably about 2 years ago now that many of you have probably heard this story already, where it was June and I'm driving across town with my son and I was going to work at my mother-in-law. She was going to look after my son for me. And we drove by this oil change place every time we drove by. And so there's one of those like floppy men with the air, like the air balloon guys that flop around. He calls them the lube guy or the tube guy. And so one morning I was like driving and I'm not in a bad mood, but I'm not in a great mood. I'm just like, I just don't want to work. I'm not in the mood. I've done this all week. I need a break. I need to do something different, but I have help today, blah, blah, blah. So not the most supportive thoughts. However, my son pointed out that the tube guy is missing. I turned to look and I clipped someone's bumper and I got in a car accident. Okay. Thank God we were both safe. Just a little bit of damage on the cars. However, I got to drop my son off. I did not have to work much that day. I got to go to the auto repair shop and I got to sit there all day going through all the things for this accident. Okay. Now that was not what I had anticipated. However, I got everything I wanted. I didn't have to work. I had a different day. I had time to focus on me. Definitely not in the scenario I wanted, yet I asked for it. And we ask for the things that enter our universe. Another example of this is when I was much younger, I used to say, I'm sick and tired. And I literally just thought of this the last couple of days. And I used to say, I'm sick and tired all the time. And I think this is something my stepfather used to say. I haven't thought that much about it, but I did notice that I often got so nauseous. Like I probably lived the first 20, 25 years of my life with nausea, right? I'd smell something, I'd get nauseous. People are like, are you pregnant? I'm like, nope, just sick to my stomach, right? Sick to my stomach. I'm sick and tired. Okay. So sick to my stomach and sick and tired were two things I said all the time. And so the nausea would come. I'd get colds. I'd have massive energy crashes. I'd literally fall asleep at dinner in a restaurant in front of like 6 other people. I would just be like so tired, I would pass out. And so I manifested my reality, and people just like laughed because it was silly, but I never realized it at that time. However, this realization right now is like, yeah, I totally created that and I had no idea. So it's so important to speak only of what you do want. Only of what you do want. I literally hypnotized myself into sleep. I hypnotized myself into nausea because I repeated that thought over and over again, consciously and unconsciously. And this is something that we're really going to talk about. We have an upcoming workshop, Hypnotize Yourself to Success. All of these hypnotic phrases that you're saying to yourself that are out of your awareness and how to shift them so that you can create your reality to the best of your ability. Okay. Einstein ultimately says everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of what you desire and you can't help but get that reality. This is not philosophy. This is physics. And again, this is the law of vibration, which is the primary law that leads to the law of attraction. The law of attraction is a secondary law that works in conjunction with the law of vibration. Okay. So you've got to be vibrating at a high energetic level, and you're the frequency of what you're vibrating at. If you're at a high level, you're going to get high level results. If you're vibrating at a low frequency, like I was on that car accident, or when I was saying all those things to myself to fall asleep and be sick to my stomach, cancel that. I was vibrating at a much lower vibration. However, the vibration of what I was speaking, thinking, and what I received in my physical reality actually matched. Okay. Everything is created twice, first in the mind and then in your external, actual physical world. So these are such important points. So that's it. 3 things that you want to start with when you feel like your world is falling apart. The first 2, taking a breath, moving your body, doing something physical. It's basically stop and do something physical to change your reality. You could do that in an instant. The second one, make a decision. Decide to create that new experience, because decision can happen like that. Those are 2 things you can do right here, right now, on this call, right after. This is something you should do right now. If there's something holding you back, if there's something you're focusing on that's not working, change it. Just make a decision. Even if you don't know how is not your responsibility. That's not your problem right now. Your job is to make a decision, and then the answers will be brought to you. The third step, get crystal clear on your desires and only speak that reality, is so, so key, because the more clear you get, the more you'll realize that none of this stuff is going to even affect you or impact you. It'll be like a little blip and you'll get over it so fast and thrive in ways you never knew were possible. You were ultimately put on this earth to unleash your potential and greatness. And there's nothing I would love more, nothing that my team would love more than to help you do that. And there is nothing stopping you but yourself. So you can set those limitations aside and go for it, because we are here to help. Now, in our community, we've got 2 awesome events coming up. The first is this weekend. We're holding a special 1-day Hypnotize Yourself to Success training, where we're actually going to show you how to speak to your own unconscious mind in the most powerful way possible through self-hypnosis. Now, the thing is, you are already speaking to it. You are already hypnotizing yourself. But if you're not getting the results you're looking for, then the messages you're putting in may not be as constructive as they could. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a really simple process where you can increase the power of your focus up to 10,000 times and get the messages in there that you want and need that will take you to success without having to spend 30, 40, 60 minutes doing a meditation to get relaxed enough to say 1 positive affirmation, without having to go through 3 hours of mindset routines or journaling. This process, the self-hypnosis process, is actually, it can take 5 minutes. It can take 15 or 20. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it so you can get the success that you're looking for. So that's happening on Saturday, the 25th. So if Kelsey, if you could pop that link. Oh, she already did in the bio. That's amazing. And then starting October 18th, we will be hosting another 5-day Abundance Accelerator workshop right here in this community. It is absolutely free. And we're going to look at you and how you can unlock your possibilities and your potential. We're going to help you clear the path to your dreams. So get rid of that. Get rid of all those things that are standing in your way and just cluttering your world, so that you can eliminate limiting beliefs that you don't need to hold on to and uncover your success blueprint. Uncover your personal abundance blueprint in 5 minutes or less. This is what we're going to cover in the Abundance Accelerator workshop. We've had so many people leave this workshop and literally they have purchased houses, they've gotten jobs, they've doubled their income, they've purchased cars, they've seen dramatic shifts in their family life. They started paying attention to themselves and just got so much happier because they put themselves at the top of their list. So this is the workshop that you want to be at if you want to impact and dramatically improve your income and the impact you have in the world. So join me for Hypnotize Yourself to Success this weekend. Join me for the Abundance Accelerator workshop. Both the registration links are in the bio. We are here to serve you and we want to see you thrive. So have yourself a beautiful day and have yourself an awesome, awesome week. I hope this has been helpful. Bye for now.